Hi, I'm Mike McCracken, and welcome back to another installment of our Living into Lent series here at First Presbyterian. Well, you might have guessed if you look at the banner behind me that this week I'm going to talk about joy. Now, you might be thinking, goodness, why are we talking about joy here in the season of Lent, in a season where we don't always talk about joyful things? Certainly, we talk about the path to the cross. But I think it's important as Christians to look very closely at joy, especially at this time of year. Because, friends, we are called to hold in tension this idea of the world in which we're living. And I don't have to tell you about all of the crazy and terrible things that are going on in the world these days. The things that give us stress, the things that beat us down in the world and in our lives. We're called to hold that in tension with this idea that we are to be joyful people, to be people of the cross with joy. Jesus speaks to this in John's Gospel during what's known as the farewell discourse. Specifically in John chapter 15 and 16, Jesus is talking to his disciples about joy. This is not at any ordinary time. This is the conversation he has to them following the Last Supper, the night before he is crucified. You have to imagine the air was heavy with tension. The disciples didn't know precisely what was coming, but surely they knew that it was a dangerous time. And Jesus knew all the more what was in store for himself and for the disciples. And yet he speaks to them about making his joy complete. And he speaks to them about wanting their joy to be full and complete as well. He wants his joy to be ours, even in the midst of difficult times. He wants us to be able to trust him, and because of that trust, we can be joyful. Friends, bad things still happen. They happen every single day. They happen worldwide, and they happen in our own homes and in our own lives. And still, we are called to be joyful people because of who we belong to, because of the one that we trust. Now, in one of the early confessional documents of the Presbyterian Church, the Westminster Standards, there are a number of questions given to help people understand who God is and how God acts in the world. And the very first one is kind of a why are we here question. It says, what is the chief end of humanity? What are we here for? And the prescribed answer to that is to glorify God and to enjoy God forever. What does that mean? To glorify God means all kinds of things, but we glorify God in particular when we trust God in our difficulties, when we trust God in those hard places of our lives, when we trust that even though the world seems to be spinning out of control, we proclaim that God is in control after all. And we enjoy God because we're able to face the world, because we're able to trust God in this space. To glorify and to enjoy speaks to this tension to which we are called, to what Jesus speaks to at the farewell discourse, and to what our real calling is, to trust God and to enjoy this life that we are given as such a beautiful gift in God's grace. We enjoy God in all creation because we are able to trust God as revealed to us in Jesus Christ. So friends, go forth in joy. Grace and peace to you this day. Amen.